All right, Marvel fans, welcome back. We're doing something a little different this time. We're diving into the world of Iron Man 3.
Oh yeah, this should be fun.
Yeah, but we're looking specifically at what viewers had to say about it on IMDb.
IMDb, the place.
Right, exactly. The place where people go to rate movies, and see what other people think.
Right, everyone goes there to see if the movie's good or not before they watch it.
Yeah, or maybe they go there after to just see if they agree with the general consensus.
Or to vent their frustrations.
Exactly. And, Iron Man 3, this one, well, it sparked some debate.
Oh yeah, it did.
And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. You've all sent in a ton of reviews, and we're going to unpack them.
See what the major points are.
Right. And it's worth noting that Iron Man 3, this wasn't just any Iron Man movie. It came out right after the Avengers.
Oh yeah, huge expectations.
Right. When anything Marvel, like everyone was just waiting to see what they'd do next.
The hype was unbelievable.
So the question is, did it live up to the hype?
Well, I mean, looking at these reviews, it's complicated.
Haha. Yeah, that's one way to put it. The ratings, they're all over the place.
People either loved it or hated it.
Some called it the best in the trilogy. Others, not so much.
Yeah, some felt it completely missed the mark.
So we're going to figure out why.
What worked, what didn't work.
What made people so passionate,
Exactly, and we'll see how Iron Man 3, how it fits into the whole MCU.
The bigger picture.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that stood out right away was the director Shane Black.
Oh yeah, he was new to the MCU.
Right, this was his first Marvel movie.
And you can tell his style is all over this film.
Oh yeah, definitely. One reviewer even pointed out the humor. They said it was extremely clever, frequently hilarious, and awesomely self-aware.
And they directly attributed that to Shane Black.
Yeah, his influence is clear.
Shane Black, he's known for that kind of dialogue,
Sharp, witty.
Yeah, and he likes to play with expectations.
Like you think you know where he's going with the story, and then bam!
He flips it on you.
Exactly. So the question is, did that work for an Iron Man film?
Right, because some people loved it. They thought it was a fresh take.
But others thought it strayed too far from what they expected.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It is. It really shows how a new director can change things up.
For better or worse?
And speaking of changing things up, we got to talk about the Mandarin twist.
Oh boy, here we go.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen the movie.
Right.
But let's just say this plot twist, it caused some serious division among the fans.
Oh yeah, people were not happy.
Some loved it. They thought it was a brilliant subversion of expectations.
Totally unexpected.
But others felt like it betrayed the character and the source material.
Like it didn't respect the comics?
Yeah, one reviewer even asked, how bad can a plot twist be?
Clearly it hit a nerve.
You don't see that kind of reaction every day.
No, you don't.
But even setting the Mandarin aside, there were other criticisms about the plot itself.
Like what?
Well, some people found it too convoluted or predictable.
Especially coming after the Avengers, which was so epic in scale.
Right. You go from this huge world-ending threat to something that felt smaller, more contained.
Which brings up an interesting point about expectations,
Yeah, people were expecting another Avengers.
They wanted massive battles and explosions.
But Iron Man 3 went in a different direction. It focused more on Tony Stark as a person.
Rather than Iron Man, the superhero.
Right. And the shift in focus, it's something that comes up a lot in these reviews.
Yeah, a lot of people pointed out how the film digs into Tony's vulnerabilities. His anxiety after the Avengers.
PTSD, panic attacks.
Stuff we haven't really seen from him before.
Right. It's like we're seeing a more human side of Tony Stark.
And that's what some people loved about the movie.
Yeah, they found it relatable. They connected with his struggles.
But it also raises the question, did this focus on Tony's personal problems make him a better hero?
Or did it take away from the Iron Man persona that fans loved?
Right. Is he still the same Iron Man if he's constantly battling his own demons?
It's a good question, and I guess the answer depends on what you're looking for in a superhero movie.
Exactly. If you want nonstop action and a world-saving plot, then maybe Iron Man 3 wasn't for you.
But if you wanted to see a deeper exploration of Tony Stark, the man behind the mask,
then maybe this movie delivered exactly what you wanted.
It's all about personal preference, right?
Yeah, what you value in a story.
And Iron Man 3, it definitely leaned into the character-driven stuff.
More than the big action spectacle.
So keep that in mind as we continue this deep dive.
There's a lot more to unpack here.
Oh yeah, we're just getting started. It's funny how Iron Man 3 really plays with this whole idea of expectations.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like on one hand, you've got this classic superhero formula, the hero, the villain, the world in danger.
Right, all the familiar stuff.
But then it throws in these curveballs, these unexpected moments that make you go, wait, what?
It keeps you guessing.
Exactly. And I think that goes back to Shane Black's directing, like we were saying before.
He's all about subverting those tropes.
Yeah. You think you're on familiar ground and then bam.
He pulls the rug out from under you.
Exactly. And that can be really engaging. It keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, some people love that kind of storytelling.
Like one reviewer mentioned how much they implored seeing how all the pieces fit together at the end.
Oh yeah, they called the film anecdotal until that final reveal.
It's like solving a puzzle. You don't see the full picture until the very last piece is in place.
But for some people, that approach can be frustrating.
Yeah, they might prefer a more straightforward narrative.
Where the stakes are clear from the beginning.
Right, no messing around.
It's a matter of taste, I guess.
Yeah, finding that balance between keeping things interesting and making sure the audience isn't totally lost.
Right, you don't want to alienate anyone.
And I think Iron Man 3 does a pretty good job of walking that line.
It's a tricky balance.
But even beyond the plot twists and all that, there's another element we got to talk about.
What's that?
Tony Stark's PTSD.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
It's not just a throwaway line, it's woven into his whole character arc.
Right. It's a major part of who he is in this film.
You see it in his anxiety attacks, his nightmares, the way he struggles to cope with what happened in the Avengers.
It's a side of Tony we haven't really seen before.
And it adds a whole other layer to the character.
Definitely makes him more complex, more vulnerable.
One reviewer mentioned how much they appreciated seeing this aspect of Tony explored.
Oh yeah?
They said they could relate to his struggles with anxiety.
It made them feel like even a superhero like Iron Man can be affected by real-life issues.
Right, like he's not invincible, he's human.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the things that makes these characters so compelling.
We see ourselves in them even when they're fighting aliens and robots.
Yeah, it's their humanity that resonates with us.
It makes you wonder, though, does this vulnerability make Tony a more effective hero?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or does it hinder his ability to protect the world?
Because a superhero who's constantly having panic attacks,
right? Like, is he really the best guy for the job?
that's something the film grapples with.
Yeah, it shows Tony struggling to balance his human weaknesses with the responsibility of being Iron Man.
And that conflict, it really adds to the character's depth.
But it also raises questions about what it means to be a hero.
Right. Like, what happens when your biggest enemy is yourself?
Exactly. It's a question that goes beyond just Iron Man 3,
Yeah, it's something we all face in our own lives.
Like, how do we overcome our own limitations to achieve great things?
It's a universal theme.
And it's one of the things that makes this movie so thought-provoking.
It challenges our assumptions about what it means to be strong.
Right. Maybe true strength comes from embracing your vulnerabilities.
Maybe it's about finding a way to be both powerful and human at the same time.
And let's not forget, this is still an Iron Man movie.
Of course, gonna have some fun.
So amidst all this deep stuff, there's still plenty of action and humor.
Oh yeah, they didn't skip on the spectacle.
One reviewer specifically mentioned the skydiving rescue scene.
That was pretty awesome.
They called it unique and memorable.
And it's a great example of how the film balances those quiet character moments with big action set pieces.
Yeah, you get the best of both worlds.
And let's not forget Robert Downey Jr.'s performance.
Oh, he's fantastic in this.
He brings that classic Tony Stark charm.
But he also shows a real depth of emotion,
He's not just cracking jokes, he's dealing with some serious stuff.
You can tell he's really invested in the character.
Absolutely, and his performance is one of the film's biggest strengths.
Speaking of strengths, we can't forget about the post-credit scene.
Oh yeah, that little bonus for the die-hard fans.
One reviewer made sure to point out that you gotta stay until the very end.
They weren't disappointed.
And without giving anything away, let's just say adds another layer of intrigue to the story.
And hints at what might be coming next for Tony Stark.
Which is interesting because this film was supposed to be the end of the Iron Man trilogy.
Right, like he's hanging up the suit.
But then that post-credit scene, it's like, wait, there's more.
Like the story isn't over.
It's a reminder that in the MCU, nothing is ever truly finished.
There are always more adventures to be had.
And that's what keeps the fans coming back for more.
Always wanted to see what happens next.
The Iron Man 3, it's like a bridge,
Oh yeah, between Tony Stark's story and the bigger MCU.
It gives him a satisfying ending, but then it also leaves things open for more.
Like a doorway to new adventures.
And it's been amazing, reading through all these reviews you sent in.
So many different perspectives.
Yeah, we saw how some people loved the humor, the action, the unexpected twists.
Right, others found the plot confusing.
Yeah, like it was trying to be too clever.
And of course, we can't forget about that Mandarin twist.
Oh man, that one really divided people.
Some thought it was brilliant, others felt betrayed.
But even with all these different opinions, there's one thing that seems to connect them all.
What's that?
The feeling that Iron Man 3, it was trying to do something different.
Not just another superhero flick?
Yeah, it went deeper. It explored Tony Stark's inner struggles.
His vulnerabilities, his humanity.
And that's what makes this movie so fascinating to analyze.
It dared to challenge the conventions of the genre.
Yeah, it didn't shy away from complex themes.
Like identity trauma, The cost of being a hero?
So after all this, after diving deep into these reviews, exploring the good and the bad,
The triumphs and the controversy.
the question remains, where do you stand on Iron Man 3?
Did it resonate with you?
Did it challenge your expectations?
Did it leave you wanting more?
Or did you feel like something was missing?
It's a question worth pondering,
Yeah, as you reflect on this deep dive.
Because in the end, the most important opinion is yours.
And who knows, maybe if you rewatch Iron Man 3 with fresh eyes,
With all these new perspectives.
maybe you'll see something you didn't notice before.
That's the beauty of film analysis.
It's an ongoing conversation, a journey of discovery.
And we hope you'll continue that journey with us.
Let us know your thoughts on Iron Man 3.
Share your own insights.
We're always eager to hear from you, our fellow deep divers.
So until next time.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the stories that matter to you.